I dreamt last night the moon was so bright, it melted the walls away. And it wasn't alarming when I saw Prince Charming come into my bedroom and say,
let me persuade you to come to the place where tomorrow meets today.
ooh!
Bigger and better citizen gadgets.
Forward, progress. If you were a scientist, you were it.
Your excellent science, I am your faithful servant.
And tomorrow.
Building a new world.
To those who began the revolution in Russia 75 years ago, science was a grand liberating force. They believed Karl Marx had discovered the scientific laws of society, which they would now use to unlock the gates to a new world, where everyone would be equal and free. But within 20 years, the revolution was taken over by technocrats who looked down on the crowd below as though they were atoms. They were inspired not by Marx, but by the laws of engineering. They believed they could transform the Soviet Union into a giant rational machine, which they would run for their political masters.
Много людей, они по-разному одеты, они по-разному выглядят. Но все же каждый из этих людей, которые идут, они агрегируются в какие-то социальные группы. Видите, в обществе действуют совершенно объективные законы. Так же, как и в природе, в физике, в механике. И уж так хотелось сделать людей счастливыми. Так хотелось сделать их, ну, если не богатыми, то в достатке.
This is a story of science and political power, how the Bolsheviks' vision of using science to change the world was itself transformed. What resulted was a strange experiment, far removed from the original aims of the revolution.
Greetings from Moscow, the capital of the Soviet Union, the world's first socialist state, in which everything belongs to the people, everything is created by the people, and everything is done to benefit the people.
From the beginning of the revolution, modern technology was central to the Bolsheviks' plans. Above all, the new power of electricity. In 1920, Lenin unveiled in the Kremlin a huge map studded with light bulbs to show the planned electrification of the country. To illuminate the bulbs, all electricity in the rest of Moscow had to be shut off.
Идея была простая. Он был интересен не просто тем, что будут строить заводы, фабрики, электростанции. Идея была такая – и создать нового человека. Вот этим действительно план Гуэлро отличался от любого другого, которые разрабатывались до этого времени.
Communism, said Lenin, is Soviet power plus electrification. The aim of the Bolsheviks was to transform the people they ruled into what they called scientific beings, people able to understand and control the machines of the modern world rather than become enslaved by them. They organized mass parades where the machines symbolically crushed the irrational dogmas of the past. Moscow became what Lenin called a talking city, its walls adorned with geometric perspectives, giving glimpses of a new rational world. Its statues surrounded by parallelograms and futuristic structures. Even music was used to transform the way people understood the world. Electrical machines made what was called rational music. The most extraordinary project of all was the Central Institute of Labour, set up on Lenin's orders. It was run by Alexei Gastev, who photographed and studied workers as though they were parts in a machine. It was far more than mere time and motion. Gastev believed he could teach people to think and behave in a rational way. To do this, he built the social engineering machine, a giant structure of pulleys, cogs and weights. How it worked is today a mystery, even to his son.
В Центральном институте труда была построена так называемая социальная инженерная машина. Социальная инженерия, я думаю, что это учет коротких путей, как вот он искал в этом вот какой-то кратчайший и максимально эффективный путь. Так можно и государство выучивать, так же, как вот обучается этот человек. То есть государство можно научить управлять так же, как любой другой машиной. И вот эта социальная инженерная машина, она должна быть установлена всюду. Заставить работать новое общество настолько эффективно, насколько оно в состоянии. Вот это и есть задача социальной инженерной машины, если понимать человека тоже как часть этой социальной инженерной машины, разумную часть.
Such is the power of science, said Trotsky, that the average human being will become an Aristotle, a Goethe, a Marx, and beyond this, new peaks will rise. In fact, the power to shape the future of the Soviet Union was passing to those who could build the new industrial society that the Bolsheviks wanted so much. They were known as the bourgeois specialists, engineers from before the revolution who had the skills needed to master the modern technology. Many had actually opposed the revolution, but by 1923 they made up over 3/4 of the powerful State Planning Committee. Under the Tsar, their plans for factories and power stations had remained on the drawing board. Now they were being given the chance to build them, and they became influential figures.
У нас в ту пору были крупные инженеры, специалисты, энергетики, которые, пользуясь у нас значительным уважением, это те, которые строили электростанции. Старые, это, мы их высоко ценили. Такие широкие массы людей, они не все знали, что такое электричество, но они ощущали, что это дает дорогу для новой жизни.
Lenin saw how his dream of control over this new technical world was slipping away. To tell the truth, he said, the communists are not directing anything. They are being directed. But in 1924, Lenin died. After a bitter struggle, Stalin seized power. He was determined to recapture the momentum of the revolution. To do so, he decided to send Russia on a crash course of industrialization. It would bring even more power to the bourgeois engineers.
Так вот, мы остановились там, сели в поезд, не пассажирском, а товарный вагон. Мы ехали ровно 7 дней с Москвы до Магнитки, 7 дней. Народу 1000 ехало.
In 1927, Stalin began the 5-year plan. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers travelled to the remote and desolate parts of the Soviet Union. Millions more were forced off the land at gunpoint to join them. They had 5 years, Stalin told them, to build a modern industrial state.
Приехали в Магнитку, сошли с поезда, шли пешком до завода управления. Мы пришли, подали бумагу, нам говорят, идите прямо в цех. Нам, значит, погрузили ведра, будильники в ведра, чтобы не просыпали. Да, ребят, Не утекайте.